And this is literally nickel and diming independent artists to the point where they just start giving up. And Content ID is only one way that DistroKid makes a killing off of exploiting independent artists. Now, I know that's harsh, but they are exploiting independent artists with this. But that's not the only fee.
Because my revolutionary faculties got me switching up the game and changing minds. Get them out the system, I'll be saving lives.
What's up, y'all? Harkos here with the Makin Cents Podcast, where it's all about music marketing, branding, and how to have success, real success, as an independent artist. And one of the most important ways to have real success as an independent artist is to make more money off your music than what you're actually investing into it. Now, I know for a lot of y'all this seems very self-explanatory, but I'm for real, you have to invest into yourself in order to see growth. But you need to do it smartly. See, in today's world, streaming platforms are the first way as an independent artist that you're actually going to start earning money off of your music. It's just a fact. I've had many artists who will all the time say, look, I'd rather stay off of streaming platforms and have just a sales-only model because streaming platforms, they just don't pay very much. And that's true. Streaming platforms don't pay very much. But I also agree that sales are a great way to make money off of your music. But in addition to that, it's a great way to gauge your real fan base. But it takes someone a long time of enjoying your music and getting to know you before they actually decide to invest in you. And that's what sales are. Sales are an investment into you from somebody who enjoys your music and everything that you do as an individual and as an artist. And this is why I say that streaming is the best way for you to start making money off of your music. And once you build a strong fan base, then you can actually start adding in the sales element. But before that, you actually just need to be up on all the streaming platforms because that's where people are going to check out your music first and start actually becoming a fan of you. And, you know, when you go to try to put your music up on these streaming platforms, because you're like, okay, yeah, Harkos, I get it. I need to be up on these platforms. I need to be able to gather an audience to draw them in. You're looking around and you're like, man, there's so many different distribution companies to choose from. Which one is the best deal? Trying to figure that out is very difficult because all of them have a lot of fine print. And DistroKid is one of the most popular platforms for distributing and has been for quite a few years. And they were one of the first to offer DIY platform to give independent artists the opportunity to actually put up their music on all these platforms. And they reeled them all in by saying, hey, it's $20 a year for unlimited releases. And even me, when I first started distributing my music to platforms in 2017, I used DistroKid. It's a great option. But even then, they had a bunch of add-on services that ended up adding up to way more than $20 a year. And today, in 2025, they have some of the most expensive add-on services that a lot of artists just don't use because of the increasing reoccurring fees that just keep adding up every single year. But at the same time, if they don't use these add-ons, then they're missing out on gaining more money off of their music by not using these services such as YouTube Content ID, for instance, which now they call it social media pack because it's not just YouTube, but it also has TikTok Content ID as well. But YouTube and TikTok, those are the largest platforms for discovery of music online. And having Content ID is a key way to be able to take advantage of your song going viral from a bunch of people using your content in UGC, which, for those of y'all who don't know, UGC is user-generated content, which is where individuals are creating content and putting your music in that content. But if you don't have tracking elements on your music, then you can't monetize that properly. Now, if you don't already know about DistroKid's add-on fees and how they work, let's go ahead and take a look at them. So, Content ID or social media pack through DistroKid is $4.95 per song per year. Now, if you're releasing one song per month, that's 12 songs a year, which at minimum, that's what I recommend, is that you're releasing at least one song a month. Right there, for just having YouTube Content ID or social media pack, that's $60 a year at 12 songs per year. Now, that starts compounding year after year. So the first year you start releasing music with DistroKid and you're releasing 12 songs in a year, you're going to be paying $60. But then year 2, you're going to end up paying $120 if you still release another 12 songs that year, because you're paying for year 1 at 12 songs, and then you're paying for year 2 12 songs as well too. And then year 3, well, now you got year 1 and year 2 that renew, and then you have year 3. So you're looking at $180 for year 3, and so on and so on. It just keeps compounding up. Now, if you start releasing more than 12 songs a year, and let's say you do a couple of albums or EPs, yeah, they'll give you a discount on the albums, but you still have all these reoccurring charges from your singles and your albums that are hitting you multiple times a month, because they don't just charge you all of these add-on fees once a year like they do their standard fee of $20 or $40, whatever package you get. You get the reoccurring fee hitting your bank account on the exact anniversary of the original release date. And this is literally nickel and diming independent artists to the point where they just start giving up. And Content ID is only one way that DistroKid makes a killing off of exploiting independent artists. Now, I know that's harsh, but they are exploiting independent artists with this. But that's not the only fee. See, there's also $27 per song for Dolby Atmos, which what that is, if you don't know, that delivers a high quality version of your song to platforms such as Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon, and it actually just broke that Spotify is going to have a high quality tier of their platform starting in 2026 as well. So if you don't pay that $27 per song for Dolby Atmos, your song is not going to be on all the different high quality versions of these platforms at all. And yeah, that's only a one-time payment. It's not an actually reoccurring fee like the YouTube Content ID, but still, if you're releasing 12 songs in that year, right? You're paying the $60 per year for 12 songs a year at $5 a piece roughly for YouTube Content ID. And then another 12 songs, well, for that same 12 songs, you're paying $27 each. That's roughly $360 a year that you're paying to have just a high quality version of your song on these platforms. And, the need for the high quality version of your song being on all these platforms is going to continue to grow more and more with all these different platforms offering high quality versions in order to compete with each other. So yeah, DistroKid starts you out at now it's $22.99 a year for their just basic package. But with Content ID at $5 per song per year, and then Dolby Atmos at $27 per song, you're right there paying hundreds of dollars a year. And the more music that you put out and the longer that you stay with DistroKid, the more you will start turning those hundreds per year into thousands of dollars per year that you're just paying out to be up on these platforms. But then, wait, there's more. Like those infomercials always say on TV, right? But wait, there's more. There's also Discovery Pack. That's 99 cents per song per year, which is where they will put your music on Shazam, Luminate, Gracenote, and other platforms like that allow people to find your music when they just hear it. They can hold their phone up and it'll tell them what the song is and take you to it. That's 99 cents per song per year. Now, yeah, you're only releasing 12 songs a year. That's $12. Okay, whoop-de-doo. But again, it's one of those per song per year compounding things. So the first year is $12. Second year, now you're $24. Second year, $36. And it keeps on compounding on top of YouTube Content ID and Dolby Atmos. And then, oh wait, there's more. You have Store Maximizer, which is $7.95 per song per year, which puts you on any new platform that DistroKid partners with, which honestly I think is ridiculous, because if DistroKid is growing their business and connecting with more streaming platforms, they shouldn't charge you to grow with them. It's ridiculous. Oh, but wait, there's more fees. You also have Leave a Legacy, which is $29 per song. Luckily, it's not per year, but still, it's so that if you stop paying DistroKid for whatever reason, or your card gets declined, they will leave your music up on all the platforms. That's kind of crazy in my opinion. Like, all these fees are crazy. But the fact that you get reeled in by saying, oh, $22.99 a year, or even their mid-tier package, $39.99 a year, right? And then, oh wait, there's also $5 per song per year for YouTube Content ID, $27 per song to get the high-quality version up on the platforms, $29 per song in case, for whatever reason, you stop paying us, we'll leave your stuff up. $7.95 per year just for us to put you on new platforms when we start doing business. All these fees are insane. And if you're not making thousands of dollars or more, maybe tens of thousands of dollars more per year off of your music, then you're losing money just by putting music up on streaming platforms with DistroKid. Now, again, like I said, this causes a lot of independent artists to either just stop making music, which I've seen a few do that because they say, oh, this is a racket. I don't even have fun with it anymore. It's not a passion anymore. It's turning into a job that doesn't even pay. Or they stop paying for these add-on services, which I've seen a lot of independent artists that I know that have DistroKid especially, but any of the other platforms, they just don't pay for the add-on services because they're like, man, I'm not going to pay all this extra money. I'm not making anything off of it yet. But see, again, what that does is you're not making any money off your streaming, but you're losing the potential of making money for not having these add-ons. So if a song does go viral with UGC on TikTok or YouTube or something, you're not getting the content ID, so you can't monetize off of it. Or I've had some artists, like I said earlier, remove their songs off streaming platforms altogether and go to the sales only on their website or on Bandcamp or something. Now, I've had discussions with these artists, and like I tell every artist, whether they're on streaming platforms or not, I will never tell any one of y'all to not put your music up on streaming platforms. It's a great way to reach a new audience because all of these platforms have their own algorithms similar to social media algorithms, right? But it's a little bit different because social media algorithms, they will put content in front of you that's on an interest-based level. So if you show interest in specific things before, like for me, for instance, whenever I can't go on TikTok because if I go on TikTok, I start watching those animal videos where they dub in human voices over them. It's hilarious. Well, the content platforms, they know this because I keep watching stuff like that, and I'll go back to the people's page and start watching more stuff. And so they will start suggesting more of that content to me. And they're going to send more stuff that's similar to that or stuff that other people like that also watch those same funny animal videos, right? And everybody's got their own thing they like watching on streaming, social media, right? That's how the social media platforms work. And streaming platforms work similar. However, it goes based off of your listening history. So it's going to recommend music to you that you frequently listen to, but it's also going to suggest music that is most similar to what you already listen to. So if you go in and you just click on a specific song on your homepage, right, that you've listened to a bunch, and you start going into the random mode where it suggests things, that's where it's going to start suggesting a bunch of like content to you. Some's going to be content you've already listened to. Some's going to be content that's already on your playlists. That's where they prioritize first. But then they're going to start putting in some new stuff that you've never heard before that you may like, just to test, to see, okay? And as an independent artist, if you don't have your music up on streaming platforms, then you cannot take advantage of your music getting recommended to a complete stranger who is most likely going to like your music because of their listening history. Now, I talk with artists all the time, and many of them who have DistroKid, they either don't use those add-on services because of the cost, or they do use those, but they're really upset at the fact that they got to shell out all this money every single year just to keep their music up on the platforms. And then to top it all off, they're not even getting a big return because of the low streaming rates. And, I went and looked it up, and you can search in streaming rates 2025, and you'll find 5 different articles that say 5 different things. So I went ahead and did my research a little bit on each platform to gather like the list of the top platforms and what they pay. Now, these are all ranges, okay? They depend on a lot of different factors, such as country it's being listened to, subscription status, and a bunch of other things, right? But here's the averages for the top platforms, okay? Spotify pays between 0.003 and 0.005. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, that means 30 to 50% of a penny per stream, okay? Apple pays between 0.008 and 0.01, or in other words, 80% of a penny or a whole penny in that range per stream. YouTube, now they have the widest range, but on average it's between 0.007 and 0.015 cents per stream. So again, for those of y'all who can't really follow along, so that's 70% of a penny per stream all the way to 1.5 pennies per stream. Okay, now that's the average. The total range is between 0.002 or 20% of a penny per stream all the way up to 3 cents per stream. Now, YouTube has the widest range because it depends on so many different things, okay? It depends on, like I said, country status, or sorry, not country status, but the country that you're listening to, the subscription status, if you're listening on YouTube Music versus YouTube Regular with the videos, if it's on your platform where they're listening, or if it's on somebody else's platform where they're listening, all those things, it leads to the range, okay? But on average, for all those factors, it's between 0.007 and 0.015 cents per stream, okay? So again, 70% of a penny per stream all the way to 1.5 pennies per stream, okay? And then you got Tidal. Now, Tidal, they pay the most. They pay between 1 and 5 cents per stream. No fractions over there. Now, those places, Tidal, is a subscription-only platform. And so they also have the high quality sound that you pay the $27 a month or per song for Dolby Atmos, right? They have the high quality versions, everything. So they deliver a lot to their customers. And so in return, they're part of their business model is also to give more back to the independent artist. So again, they pay between 1 and 5 cents per stream. And then you have Amazon Music, which pays between 0.004 and 0.008 cents per stream. Again, 40% to 80% of a penny per stream, depending on all the different factors, okay? Now, as you can see, even the best platforms like Tidal, for instance, or Apple Music, or even YouTube, they're paying roughly 1 penny per stream. Now, if you're not getting very many streams, even if you're getting the highest value for them on some of these platforms, you're still not going to be able to make up for all the add-on fees that DistroKid charges. Now, this really frustrates a lot of independent artists and makes them, again, just want to stop making music or stop putting out on the platforms because they're just losing money. And I agree, DistroKid is horrible. I stopped using them years ago. Yeah, when I first started in 2017, I used them. But then I learned, looked around, and found other options. And when I speak with independent artists, they always ask me, okay, Harkos, I agree with you. Like, DistroKid is horrible. But what platform do you recommend? And for a while now, I haven't really been able to recommend any platform because they're all roughly equally as bad. Some are worse than the others. But I would tell them, I'm like, hey, look, DistroKid is not that great. There's some others that are a little bit better, but you're still dealing with the same nonsense, right? But I don't like just talking about problems without coming up with actual solutions. That's the whole thing here at Makin Cents Podcast, is finding solutions to all the problems that independent artists have. So I was searching around because, again, I just wanted to find a solution. I was looking through all the distribution platforms, and I couldn't find a single one that was really much different than DistroKid until I found LANDR. See, LANDR doesn't mess around with all these add-on fees. And that's really what stood out to me the most. Initially, I was like, wait a second. No add-on fees? But they still give you all those services included in their Distribution Pro package that you have to pay all these extra fees for every single month, every single year with all these other platforms. And it's just $45 per year, $49.99 technically, but $45, right? And so after I found this, I started telling artists about this. I was like, yo, y'all need to check out LANDR. You know, you get all these extra things for no additional charge. You don't have these stacking up reoccurring fees. And they're like, whoa, that's way more doable. So you're telling me I can have unlimited songs and still get my YouTube content ID, TikTok ID, the Dolby Atmos, and all these other services that DistroKid and all these other platforms, including, pay, charge you all these extra money for, but I don't have to pay any additional charge? I'm like, yeah, let me show you real quick, all right? So LANDR, if you go to their website and you go to pricing and then you go to distribution, you will see that they have three main packages of distribution, okay? So they have their Distribution Basic, which is $23.99 a year, which is only $1 more than DistroKid's base package. And it gives you the same thing that DistroKid says too, right? Unlimited releases, keep 100% of your royalties, and delivery to all the stores, right? But LANDR also gives you YouTube Content ID. It says here for a limited time only on their base package, okay? But it's included for no additional charge. Now, that right there, for just being $1 more per year than DistroKid, you're saving so much money because you're saving that $5 per song per year that keeps stacking up for the YouTube Content ID that you don't have to pay with LANDR at all. And you get it still. So you don't have to just not select it on your single. You can still have it, and you don't have to pay extra. But see, LANDR also has their Distribution Pro package, which is what I recommend to everyone because it has everything that we just mentioned in the Distribution Basic, but it also gives you the Dolby Atmos, the advanced reporting and features. It gives you faster releases, custom label name, and premium support. And you can go through here and compare a lot of the other different plans that they have as well, because they have way more than just distribution. And that's honestly, they're most well known for their mastering services. I'm sure when you first heard me say LANDR, you're like, oh wait, they don't do distribution, they just do mastering, right? Because that's how I first found out about them. In 2020, when I did a collaboration with another artist local to where I live, he used LANDR to master our song. And so that's what I've always stuck in my head. So whenever I was looking for all these different platforms, I saw LANDR. I'm like, oh, they don't do distribution. But it said LANDR Distribution. I'm like, wait a second, let me look into this. And so I looked in and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know about their distribution. Okay. But as you see, they have Distribution Basic, Distribution Pro, and then Studio Essentials. They also have Studio Standard and Studio Pro. Right? And the studio editions have some of their mastering services and plugins and stuff like that. Now, those things are great for if you actually want to do DIY, because they have the mastering program, the samples, the plugins, courses that all show you how to do all different kinds of things within the music realm. If you want to start mastering your own music, or maybe you already do master your own music, you want to start producing your own beats or instrumentals, or adding effects to your songs depending on your genre, and many other things. But as you can see, the different packages have different release approval time as well as support response time. And I will tell you this, their support is top notch, okay? Their support is all based in Canada and the United States, and they actually return your support inquiries in a fast time frame. They don't just have that auto response. They have an auto response, okay? But they don't just send you the auto response and then just never get back to you. They actually get back to you in a very timely fashion after the auto response. Because see, full disclosure, right? I had one of my artists had an issue with DistroKid about like 2.5 months ago, and they reached out to DistroKid's support team about it. And I was just talking with that artist last night, and they still have not heard anything back from DistroKid about that, okay? At all, which is ridiculous. And so a few weeks ago, whenever I found LANDR, I told her about LANDR, and she said, "Oh, okay, done. I'm switching over. You know, you told me these perks about it, and you've done your investigation. I know you do deep dives, so let me switch over." And she did. Now, again, it's some more full disclosure. She had an issue with like her third release that she was transferring over, because LANDR does have an easy import feature where you can just transfer yourself over. Well, she had an issue with like the third or fourth song she was moving over. But she reached out to the support, and they got back to her within 2 business days with the issue fixed. Not just with that auto response email, but they actually had the issue fixed within 2 business days. Okay? You can't find that on other platforms. So that alone right there is a great reason to switch to LANDR from any of these other platforms. But with their distribution, if you want to go with that bare minimum, like I said, you get a lot of things. You get YouTube Content ID, you get all these other add-ons, the Dolby Atmos, the Leave a Legacy, everything like that. All these add-ons that DistroKid charges for, you get those included in what I always recommend to people at minimum, get the Distribution Pro, which is only $45 per year, okay? I recommend it the most because you get the delivery to high quality platforms, you get, you know, which is just saving $27 per year. That's just insane right there, okay? And you get it for no additional charge. So instead of paying for that, to have your high quality version on the platforms, which is what these platforms should do anyway, you can get that included. You also get the Store Maximizer, the Discovery Pack. All that is included for no additional charge. So stop paying all these extra fees for DistroKid and all these other platforms just to have all these things that LANDR is offering all inclusive for their base package, okay? For $44.99 a year for the Distribution Pro. You're going to be saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year compared with especially DistroKid. Now, again, I told you about that one artist. I've had other artists, multiple now. I think we're going on like 6 or 7 in just a few weeks that I work with on a one-on-one basis who have already used my link and got 20% off of their subscription to LANDR. They have already used the easy import tool that moves everything over for them. And it doesn't matter if they're on DistroKid or whatever platforms, that import tool works really easy. And they were all completely tired of dealing with DistroKid. And some of these artists only wanted the distribution only because they don't do all their mixing and mastering or nothing. But then there are some that got the Studio Pro because they do all of everything in-house. They mix, they master, they do their own production and everything like that. And they wanted to do that. But in all these cases, every single artist who has switched over that I've recommended to LANDR, they are completely satisfied with all the features that they get, the ease of the use on the platform, and the customer service. Okay? So, if you want to join myself and all the independent artists that I work with who have already switched over to LANDR, use the link in the description below and get 20% off any package that you sign up for. Whether it's distribution only or you get the LANDR Studio Pro that has distribution, mastering, plugins, courses, samples, and a bunch more, you will get 20% off if you use my link down in the description below, okay? So stop wasting money having your music up on all these platforms and start using your money to actually promote your music in a real and sustainable way. And as I always say here on Music Making Sense Podcast, if you need some guidance as to how you can actually promote your music in a real and sustainable way, you can book a free one-on-one consultation with me. Okay, the link down below for that as well too in the description. Or you can go to musicmakingsensepod.com/free call in order to schedule a free one-on-one video call with me where I will work to build you a custom strategy, but also give you a free content creation and posting calendar, the same one that I use with all the artists that I work with. Plus, as an added bonus, I'll give you 4 ChatGPT scripts that I use to generate headlines and descriptions that are interest-based and SEO heavy in order to activate the algorithm to get your content shown to the most people possible, all organically, okay? I use these calendar and I use these ChatGPT scripts with every single artist that I work with, and every one of them have started seeing real organic growth in a steady way, okay? So again, if you want to stop wasting your money with distribution platforms that just want to steal from you, come on over to LANDR. Join me and the other artists that I work with who have already started saving money and getting way more for their money. And if you need help building a solid strategy to promote your music and start to grow a real music career, hop on a free video call with me and let's get to work. The links for each are down below in the description. And until next time here on Music Making Sense Podcast, whether it's the editions that I put out every single Monday where I do deep dives into different things like this right here, or whether it's the Wednesday night live stream where I play your music, I will see you next time on Music Making Sense Podcast. Let me know if you need anything. And of course, as always, leave something down in the comments, whether you agree, disagree, or you just want to say anything that you want to say down in the description. Let me know. I respond to every single comment. And click the links down below. Start saving 20% on LANDR and hit me up for a free one-on-one strategy session. And let's get your music moving in a real sustainable way and save you a ton of money at the same time. Y'all have a good one.